Hey, Cailen Ascher here from Cailen, and today I'm going to be talking to you about how to maintain your personal yoga practice even when you start teaching and start teaching a lot. It's so easy to kind of forget and forgo your personal practice when you get really busy as a teacher and almost convince yourself that the act of teaching somehow feeds your practice. But in truth, taking classes from other teachers or taking classes online, it feeds you in a different way than teaching does. And it's really essential to keep that connection and to keep your personal practice going, because that's where you will get your best ideas, and also you'll reconnect with why you started teaching in the first place. So I'm going to be sharing 4 tips to help you maintain your personal practice so that you can keep nourishing yourself even while you're serving others. So the first tip that I have for you is to build your practice into your schedule. Schedule it in just like you would any household responsibility, any chore that you have to do, and of course any business task. You know, I'm a huge advocate of creating schedules and planning your week in advance. So if you really are aching to get to a yoga class and wanting to take some time for yourself in that way, build it into your schedule. Schedule it as non-negotiable time and get yourself out the door to the yoga studio, or hop onto Yoga Glow, pop in a DVD, whatever it is for you, and give yourself that time and make it, like I said, a non-negotiable. My number two tip is to be okay with your practice looking different once you start teaching. Oftentimes, when we first fall in love with yoga, we make it a huge priority in our lives, which is amazing. Sometimes we're going to 3, 5, 6 classes a week. Often these are 90-minute classes. I know that's what I did when I first started taking yoga, and I don't know how I made the time for that and still worked on my business, but somehow I got everything done. But as I moved more into my business and I began teaching more, I realized that my practice was going to shift and change, and I had to be okay with that. Now often my practice looks more like 15 to 20 minutes a day, and then 1 or 2 days a week I'll try to get myself out to a class, either a 60 or 90-minute class, where I can really just hand the reins over to the teacher and enjoy. So be okay with it changing, be okay with it shifting, and the most important thing is to make that time to get on your mat regularly so you can keep fueling that yoga fire. Now, I mentioned this a little bit when we first sat down. Tip number 3 is to remember that teaching is not the same as practicing. Even though you may move into some of the poses, it may feel really good, you're obviously in that yogic setting of the yoga studio, but teaching your students is a very different thing than your personal practice. You have to be much more outwardly focused as a teacher, and you know when you get on your mat and you're there as a student yourself, it's a very different experience. So remember that just because you're teaching 3, 5, 10, 15 classes a week, it is not the same as giving yourself that personal time, even if it's just 1 day a week, to really connect with your authentic self on the yoga mat. And the last tip I had for you, tip number 4, is to give yourself a break. There is no point in stressing over your yoga practice taking a different shape or maybe falling away for a while. Throughout our lives, we go through a lot of different changes. Right now, I'm pregnant. I'm going to be having a baby. I know my yoga practice and my business, for that matter, are going to shift and change, but I'm okay with that. It's just the natural progression of things. So give yourself a break. Don't worry, don't stress if you're not getting to your 5 yoga classes a week, even if you can only make it to 1 yoga class a month. Celebrate that, enjoy that, and then in the in-between time, pop in 5 to 10 minute, even just breathing exercises, or get on your mat, do a down dog, a couple of vinyasas, something to connect you with your breath and your movement that really feels good for you and your body and gives you a break and moves you out of that headspace that we spend so much time in. I hope these 4 tips are helpful, and I really encourage you to maintain your practice as a teacher. It's going to serve you and your students. And as always, for more yoga business and marketing advice, head on over to calmbiz.com, and I'll see you there.